So, thinking about checking out this spiritual seek, we've been exploring it, and let me tell you, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it really is.
We've gone through their terms and conditions, and today we're going to break down what you can expect.
You know, it's funny how those terms and conditions, the things we usually just scroll past, actually tell you a lot about a company,
Right.
like how they approach things. And in this case, it gives us a really good look at how the spiritual seek is set up and the kind of experience they want to offer.
Exactly. And one of the first things they say is that they're offering semi-professional psychological survey tools.
Right.
And I think that's a key point.
Yeah.
It sets the right expectation from the start.
Absolutely. It makes it clear, they're not saying they're clinical psychologists or anything like that. It's more about, personal exploration.
Exactly.
Think of it as a fun way to learn more about yourself.
Yes. And, it's interesting. They offer their tests in both English and Italian.
Oh, wow.
So clearly they're going for a wider audience. Yeah, which is pretty cool. But let's get into the tests themselves. They've got a diverse selection. They cover everything from spiritual awareness and awakening to emotional and logical intelligence.
And don't forget the great personality test, mental age, youth wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
There's even an impossible quiz.
Wait, hold on. The impossible quiz.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've got me curious. What makes it impossible? Is there like a prize for doing the impossible?
Well, we don't want to spoil everything just yet.
Okay, all right.
We will definitely get back to the impossible quiz and all its secrets, I promise.
Okay, you've hooked me. But before we get too lost in the impossible, let's talk about how you can actually try these tests out.
Okay.
The good news is the Spiritual Seek has free demos for all their paid tests.
Which is so smart, right?
Yeah.
It lets you try it before you buy it. You can get a feel for, how the test is structured, the questions, just the whole vibe before you decide to pay for the full thing.
Exactly. You need a password to access the demos. You get it by just filling out a quick survey and giving them a valid email. You don't have to register or pay anything for the demos.
Oh, nice.
But here's the thing. You only get 2 tries per demo.
Oh, okay.
Then you can't access it anymore. So make those attempts count.
It's interesting that they limit the demo attempts. It seems like they really want you to, think about the questions.
Right.
Not just click through randomly.
Exactly. Now, if you decide to go for the full test, the prices are between $10 and $15 each.
Okay.
But here's the really interesting part. They have a 70% discount if you buy the whole bundle, all 7 tests.
Wow.
That's a pretty good deal if you're really serious about this self-discovery thing.
Yeah, it's a great deal for anyone who's really into this and wants to explore everything the Spiritual Seek has to offer.
Right. So let's say you've decided to buy a test. You pay up front, and once that's done, you're taken to a thank you page where you find your unlocking password. Make sure you keep that password safe, because you'll need it to access the test you chose.
Gotcha.
And another important detail, you have limited attempts for the full test, just like the demos.
Oh, okay. So you can't just keep retaking it.
Right. For most tests, you get 3 chances to finish it.
Mm.
But the Great Personality Test gives you 4.
Oh, interesting.
So, again, they're emphasizing this idea that you should approach these tests thoughtfully.
Yeah, it's not about trying to, game the system.
Exactly.
Or retake it until you get the results you want.
It's about really engaging with the process.
Makes sense.
And speaking of engaging, let's talk about why it's so important to give them a valid email address when you check out. You'll need it if you forget your password to recover it.
Right.
But even more important, that email is where you'll get your personalized certificate after you complete each test.
Oh, that's cool. It gives you something, to show for it.
Yeah, it's like a little reward for completing the self-assessment journey. But wait, there are more rewards. They have a friend code system. Basically, after you finish a test, you get a code you can share with your friends. If 20 of your friends use your code to buy a test, you get to choose between a $50 Amazon or Netflix voucher.
Wow, that's a clever way to get people to tell their friends about the platform. I mean, who wouldn't want a free $50 gift card?
Right. Okay, I have to admit, that is pretty tempting. But before we get sidetracked by free stuff, let's get back to that impossible quiz.
A mystery.
Remember how we left you hanging? Well, here's what makes it impossible. The time limit. You only have 3 minutes to complete it.
Oh, wow.
Talk about pressure. But wait, there's more. If you actually conquer the impossible and finish the quiz within the time limit, you get an amazing reward.
Right.
A free, full test of your choice.
It's like a bonus level in a video game, you know?
Right.
You unlock a special item if you're good enough.
Exactly.
But even if you're not super fast at quizzes, there's another way to get a free test.
Oh, that's right. You can also get a free test by leaving a review on their app. It's a pretty simple deal. You spend a bit of time checking out the app, give them your feedback, and you get to take one of the full tests for free.
Sounds like a win-win. They get some useful feedback to make their app better, and you get to go deeper into this whole self-discovery thing without paying anything.
Exactly. Okay, let's say you've gone ahead and bought a test, maybe even conquered the impossible quiz, but then you have second thoughts for whatever reason. What about refunds?
Right.
Well, the terms and conditions are pretty clear about this. Refunds are only given in very specific situations.
Yeah, like if there's a technical problem on the website or the app that stops you from finishing the test, even after waiting a reasonable amount of time, you can definitely ask for a refund.
Right.
Or let's say you accidentally pay twice.
Hmm.
You know, you don't have to worry. They'll give you back the extra money.
But here's the important thing. You can't get a refund just because you change your mind or don't like the results. So it's really important to use those free demos, read the descriptions carefully and make sure you're really interested before you buy anything.
It's all about making an informed choice. The free demos are there for a reason, to give you a little taste of what each test is like.
Yeah,
Use them wisely.
absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of information, let's talk about the big one, privacy. In this digital age, it's a major concern for a lot of people, especially with online tests that collect personal data. So what does the spiritual seek have to say about protecting your information?
Well, their terms and conditions state very clearly that the personal data they collect, like your name, email address, and age, is only used internally.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes stuff like generating statistics and creating those personalized certificates.
So they're not selling your data or anything like that?
Exactly. They specifically say that they won't share your data with anyone else or use it for any commercial reasons except to promote their own tests. And to make sure your privacy is protected even further, your payment info is handled by a separate company, Stripe.com.
Got it.
That means they don't even keep your credit card details.
So they're really taking data security seriously. That's good to know. I have to admit, knowing that my information is safe makes me feel a lot better about exploring what they have to offer.
It's all about trust and transparency. They're upfront about how they use your data and what they do to protect it.
Absolutely. So there you have it, a deep dive into the spiritual seek based on their own terms and conditions.
We've talked about what they offer, how the tests work, the costs, what you get for your money, and how they handle your privacy. Hopefully, you now have a much better understanding of whether the spiritual seek is right for you.
And remember, even if you're still not sure, those free demos are a great way to try it out risk-free.
Exactly. And while these tests can give you some interesting insights, remember that they shouldn't be taken as some kind of official diagnosis or label.
Right.
Think of them as starting points for self-exploration, not the final word on who you are.
That's such an important point. It's not about getting a fixed or absolute answer. It's about asking questions, exploring different parts of yourself, maybe even challenging some of your assumptions.
Exactly. So we'll leave you with a final thought. As you explore the spiritual seek and its various tests, think about this. What if personal growth isn't always a straight line? What if there are parts of ourselves that don't fit into conventional timelines and expectations?
Yeah, that's a really interesting thought. It makes you think, is there a difference between our actual age and our inner age,
Right. Like maybe some of us are old souls in young bodies, or the other way around.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes the spiritual seek so interesting.
Yeah.
It's not about, putting you in a box or giving you a label.
Right.
It's about encouraging you to really explore all those different parts of yourself.
Exactly. Like your personality, your emotional intelligence, your spiritual awareness.
Yeah.
And see what you connect with.
It's about finding those hidden parts of yourself and maybe even surprising yourself with what you discover.
Absolutely. So if you're curious about those deeper layers, whether it's your spiritual side, your emotional patterns, or even just having some fun with that impossible quiz,
Yeah.
I'd say give the spiritual seek a shot.
Who knows?
Yeah.
You might find a whole new way of understanding yourself.
Happy exploring.
And that's a wrap for today's deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.